Good morning, church. I hope as you find this video this morning that you're blessed, that you had a good Monday and your week got off to a good start. And this Tuesday morning, we are continuing through the year of the Word, and we've shifted into the New Testament. Yesterday we looked at John 1 and how Jesus is eternal and Jesus is God. Jesus is equal with God. Jesus overcomes the darkness and Jesus is the source of life. That was John 1. And today we're shifting books and we're looking to Luke chapter 1. So today's reading is Luke 1 verses 26 through 45. And in these verses we find a really familiar story probably to most of us, and it is when the angel of the Lord, Gabriel, comes to Mary and he tells her that she's going to have Jesus. He says, you will conceive and you will give birth to a son, and he will go on to be known as the Son of God, and he will be the Messiah. He will take the throne of David. He will rule over the people of Jacob, and this is what we know as the conception of Jesus Christ, of our Savior. When everything we looked at yesterday with how the Word, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and that was Jesus. But then it said, and the Word became flesh. That's what's happening here in Luke 1, 26 through 45. We're seeing how the Word became flesh, how it came about, and he did that through the Virgin Mary, who was the mother of Jesus. And this story is really familiar. As we go on through it, we see that Mary visits her cousin Elizabeth, who is pregnant with John the Baptist, and she is pregnant with Jesus. And just by being in the presence of Jesus in the womb, it says that John the Baptist leapt in his mother's womb. And just by sensing the presence of the Messiah, even as an infant that hadn't even been born yet, he was filled with joy because of the one who Mary was carrying. This wasn't just any child. This wasn't just any baby. But this was the one who would go on to save the world, who would die for the sins of you and me and of the world, and who all who would believe in him would be saved. This is Jesus Christ, the Messiah. And so this is a big deal. And when I reflect on the story, I can't help but think about just how God works in ways that may not seem possible or may not seem normal to man. But the good thing is God is not bound by human limits. God is not constricted to the laws that we have here in this world, but God can conceive this baby through his Spirit. That a Virgin Mary would have this child, Jesus, because God is powerful enough to do that. God is powerful enough to speak to her and send an angel to tell her of these things. God is powerful enough to have her conceive this baby in her womb as a virgin. And so I think as we just reflect on this story, we can see God's plan of redemption from the very beginning. This is way before Jesus ever goes to the cross, before Jesus ever even makes an act as a human on this earth. But we can see God's plan to save the world. It says that the child will be born, will be called Holy, the Son of God. That before he even did anything, God knew that Jesus would be holy, Jesus would be perfect, Jesus would be the righteous one. And so today, this Tuesday morning, I hope you're able to read Luke chapter 1, verses 26 through 45 as we look at the beginning of Jesus, as the Word became flesh. And I hope you have a great Tuesday, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning.